All right, what's up, YouTube? I'm back in Phoenix. Such mixed feelings to be home. Not gonna lie, I felt great to lay down in my bed, and that's pretty much all I've done since I've been back. But other than that, I'm not too excited to be here. Even my cats didn't seem particularly glad for me to be back, so there's that. That's interesting. I just noticed something random. On the bottom of the frame, you can see all my paid parking lot stubs reflecting off my windshield from my dashboard. That's funny. So, yeah, that's one thing I kind of had to contend with in the places I was at. Well, many of the places I was at over the last couple days is actually having to pay for parking. That's something I really take for granted living in Phoenix. There's so few places where you have to pay for parking, and I'm just used to, just pulling up and parking. And it seems like almost everything has a parking lot, and a few places that don't, there's no shortage of parking on the street. So, yeah, it was a lot of the places I was at in especially around Santa Barbara and Venice Beach, like, the on-street parking was kind of confusing. Like, there'd be so many restrictions on it, and so many, in a meter, it'd be like, well, I don't, rather than try to figure this out and potentially get a ticket or an impounded vehicle over figuring it out wrong, it's easier to go to the lots that, said exactly how much they charged and when they closed, and of course none of them have in and out privileges. So it was kind of funny. I almost got consequently, I sort of got the experience of being carless, kind of got the experience of being carless in the issue, or in the area on yesterday. What day was it? Oh, that was just yesterday, Wednesday. Because I started my day pretty early. For those who've been watching this vlog series, I ended up sleeping in the kind of morning. I think I probably knocked out around 6. Although, to be honest, I think I woke up at about 9, so I didn't really get much sleep. I don't sleep well if it's not dark, so that's one issue. And I've seen plenty of vehicles about living in your car, and the obvious solution is block out your windows or create a little cubby inside your car where you can be dark, or you got a face mask or some blankets. But I didn't really plan that trip that far ahead. In fact, I didn't even bring a change of clothes. I had to purchase more clothes while I was out there. So so I didn't get too much sleep on Wednesday morning, because I slept in, or I'm sorry, not slept in. I stayed out. I stayed out late and was mostly just kind of exploring the area on foot. Because of course then it was super easy to find a parking spot. I was able to figure out that most of the meters don't. It's free parking late at night, as long as you're not there on the wrong night. And of course, the other thing is that in the daytime, like, so much of the meter space was all full anyway, so there was plenty of available in the wee hours of the morning. So I don't know. I think I parked around 3-ish, and I went to maybe 3 different places that I parked and kind of explored that area, and then moved on a little bit, explored other areas. Kind of neat. Got to walk out into the ocean a little bit. I had my feet in the ocean since, oh gosh, I want to say August of 2019. I think I stepped into the ocean a little bit when I was in San Diego, but not much. I actually kind of took some time and walked out into the beach and just kind of stood there with my toes in the water for a little bit. And at one point, a larger wave came in, and I was up to nearly my knees. And it is kind of funny how that level changes. It's like, oh, it's not even quite, it's barely hitting my toes here. It's barely hitting my toes, and you got one bigger wave, and it's like, whoa. It was trying to pull me back. It was fun, and I'm sure there's some people that are just laughing at me, going, "Oh, God, Arizona, know what it's like to, that's how it always is." But I mean, get to experience. I mean, you know, hey, to some people being 115 outside is like something really unusual. To me, it's just that's just what I call July. So yeah, I forget what time I woke up, but I want to say it was around 9:30 ish, and I ended up that's when I did the next video, the one that it doesn't show my whole drive, but it shows a pretty notable chunk of it where I'm driving through what looks like a beautiful residential neighborhood with, probably $2 million houses. I would just, ballparking it. I haven't looked it up on Zillow or anything, but I'm sure very, very expensive houses. And then I rounded a corner and suddenly it was dirty tent-lined streets full of homeless people. So anyway, yeah, after that video, and that video cut off. I'm not really sure why. Usually when a video cuts off, it's because I've run out of space on my phone, and that one didn't. And the only thing I can think of is that the streets are kind of rough there compared to here, and it made my cell phone mount bounce around. And all I can think is that maybe it just, the vibration of it resulted in it just stopping the video. Or maybe I reached up and I bumped the street. I don't really recall. But anyway, yeah, I noticed it cut off, and I knew I was kind of tight on space anyway, and I hadn't been finding places with good Wi-Fi. The two bars that I did go into a couple of times, I think the one was called the Gaslight. This is a place that does karaoke 7 nights a week. They do have Wi-Fi, and I was able to get on it without a problem, but it was remarkably slow. I mean, really, really, I'm not downloading or uploading anything, kind of slow. The other spot that I went to was at Jameson's, which, oh, by the way, yeah, they were not looking for karaoke. So a couple people getting my hopes up. First person, and I swear I'm going to make a video about it, because my mind's just been spinning about just kind of what this guy's, what the meaning of that roughly 2-3 hours that we hung out together was about. It seemed like, I made a friend like almost instantaneously in a place where people say it's hard to make friends, in spite of all my social anxieties, and then it ended in kind of an awkward note. And so I've been thinking about that a lot. So I kind of want to do a video about that at some point. Say that him, this person, Sean, shouldn't dehumanize him like that. Anyway, the other person, his name was Jed, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like it went all right talking to the manager at Jameson's, but yeah, it was pretty clear that regardless of what what Sean and Jed had told me, the manager, whose name was Jameson, was not in any shape, way, or form looking to bring in a karaoke music video hybrid show whatsoever. To be honest, I think he was just so not interested in karaoke that I never even got a chance to mention the whole video aspect of what I do. Now, what Jed had told me, and Jameson had confirmed it, is that they do have a live band karaoke. And that was last night, and I was going to go back there to check on it, and I just thinking about like how bad my money situation is, and just didn't feel like it justified spending any more money there. And the other thing is I wasn't looking forward to trying to figure out where to park, paying for parking again. And actually, I didn't have as much trouble parking over there. It's just, it was paid parking. And I was also concerned about like what time I was going to end up getting home, because I was pretty tired at that point. Yeah, nobody likes the guy who's falling asleep in the bar. That just looks bad. Speaking of the drive home, I didn't shoot any video of the drive home. I kind of wish I had. So it ended up taking me about 9.5 hours, and obviously that's not continuous driving. I felt like I made really good time from Santa Monica to And I started at the beach so I could go through that little tunnel where the I-10 starts, just so I could feel like I've actually driven from the very end of I-10. So I always usually, get not far into the LA area and then divert to a different freeway. But it took me just about 2 hours to get to Indio, which felt like a time. And I stopped at the spot I kind of made a habit of stopping at. I've stopped there 3 times so far this year. I even looked it up on Gas Buddy, and it confirmed it's by far the cheapest gas station for many, many miles. And I got gas there, and usually it's a super. The first time I went in there, I went in and I looked at their prices for drinks, and it was like, yeah, I'm just getting gas here. I'll get my beverage at Circle K or 7-Eleven or something. I think their fountain drinks are like $2 or $2 and change, which is ridiculous. And their bottled drinks are even more overpriced. So, but yeah, I just went to the cashier, handed him my cash, and yeah, because I think that spot does like a lower cash price than credit card price. So I handed him my cash and then went out and pumped. And this particular time, oh my gosh, there was only one other person behind me in line. Actually, I think there should have been 2 people behind me in line, and I inadvertently cut off the one guy, and he saw that I was just holding cash out and had no stuff. So I'm sure he figured, I was just paying for gas and leaving, and he was just like, was waving me. I said, go ahead, no problem. And I don't know how long we stood there. It felt like a painfully long time. There was this lady with a dog, and I don't know what it was that she was doing that was taking so long. If she was like redeeming scratcher tickets or scratching scratcher tickets. And maybe I should have paid more attention to her, but whatever it was, my God, it seemed like we were there. And maybe I'm overstating it, but it felt like I was waiting for her to finish with the cashier for like 10 freaking minutes. Which, when you're trying to make good time, home on a multi-state trip, it's that feels like a painfully long time. And then add to extend on how long my wait time was. When I stepped, their restrooms are closed for whatever reason. I don't know, having to wander around behind the building and look for a incognito place to pee, which is, I don't know. It just kills me that gas stations and more public places just can't manage to provide functioning restrooms. Because not peeing is not an option. If it was, I would never pee. But anyway, so that took a while. But what actually kind of threw me off schedule a lot is I noticed a missed call on my call log that had just happened. It was from Palm Springs, and I thought, well, that's super bizarre. Why would somebody be calling me from Palm Springs, especially right when I just drove through Palm Springs? And what I honestly thought it was, and this is why I called it back, because I normally don't call random missed calls like that, was that it happened in I thought it was probably one of those robocalls trying to sell me whatever. The ones I get the most are ones trying to sell me trying to rip me off again for a low budget cruise vacation. And then the other one is, oh yeah, your warranty may be expired on your car. Wow, on my Saturn? You're kidding, a Saturn doesn't still have a manufacturer's warranty? Anyway, silliness. So I called it back just to kind of confirm which one, because it seemed to me like, I was curious if like maybe their algorithm had advanced to the point that they were somehow able to, because usually when I get the number, it's like they're spoofing local numbers, like numbers in the Phoenix metro area. Like it'll be an unknown number from Gilbert, or an unknown number from Tempe, unknown number from Phoenix, unknown number from Glendale. So it was just really weird. It was like, wow, now suddenly I'm passing through Palm Springs and I'm getting an unknown number from Palm Springs. Is there some way that the originators of these robocalls are tracking my physical location, and now they're trying to spoof a call like where I happen to be now that I'm in a different location? So I called that just because that was my thought process and my curiosity. Oh, as you can see on the left, there's another panhandler standing in the no pedestrian zone. Oh, I hate that. Oh, don't feed the rats, dude. So yeah, Sorry, my train of thought is so derailed tonight. So I called it, and it ended up being this guy that was like, I'm like, hey, did you call my number? It was actually a person that answered, quickly. It was just like, hello, it's a friendly hello. And it ended up that like him and I had a very bizarre common experience on Venice Beach of encountering a woman who is probably mentally ill, probably physically ill. It was just going through some incredibly tough times, and wasn't begging per se. I'll give her that. Like a lot of the the homeless people or the troubled people on the on the beach that they're panhandling, begging. She was definitely not begging, but she definitely needed help. And I was this last couple days I'm really struggling to help myself, so I don't really have money to give away to anybody else or even food to give away to anybody else. In fact, I largely starved myself for 2 days just because inexpensive food wasn't that accessible. Anyway, I had given this woman a card. She just offered some real friendly conversation at a time when really nobody was I was feeling kind of isolated and alone, so it felt good to talk to somebody. And she had given me a really hard time because I'd sat down to eat. I got a carne asada sandwich, and I sat down to eat it, and I just looked for a shady place to sit down, and I didn't realize I was sitting in wet, kind of mud, wet grass, until after it started to seep through my shorts. And and then I got up and I'm just like patting my ass and kind of pulling my shorts away from my ass because it's all wet and stuck to me. I'm thinking, oh yeah. And then I look down and the shorts are getting kind of dirty, and it's just like, man, I'm starting to look more and more like one of the random homeless beach bums. And yeah, that's not going to make a good impression when I go talk to this bar manager. And then she was giving me, grief for that. I told her about where I was going and why I needed to look good. And it's like, I just need to find a thrift store and get some cheap shorts. And anyway, I put them on, and I kind of just wanted some kind of. I ended up, and that was an adventure of its own, trying to get to the thrift store and get in the shorts. And I found a pair I liked that fit. They're a little tight, but they fit. And I was able to put them on in the bathrooms near where I was parked. I kept my car there damn near all day. Like I said, I got there early. It was $9, but no in and out privileges. And I had seen that. I'd been by that lot earlier, and that lot quickly becomes full. So, yeah, I felt stoked that I got there early enough to get a really good parking spot. I mean, I had a really, really good parking spot. And it was convenient to be right in the middle of stuff where it wasn't out of my way to walk back to my car and put things in my car, get stuff from my car, or charge my phone in my car for a while, or just sit in the air conditioning for a little bit and chill when people watch from the safety of my car. Anyway, when I went back, I walked back. I was honestly not really looking for her. I was looking for the jazz musicians that were busking there. That seemed like really cool dudes, and we had been talking about just places to play and perform and get paid and whatnot, and told them what I did. And I was kind of hoping to run into them and get kind of their feedback. I'm like, hey, do I look presentable for a bar manager looking to hire me as an entertainer? And they were gone, but weird, apparently, homeless woman was. She was there. So, and she remembered me and was super friendly. And anyway, I ended up giving her a card. She thought that I looked fabulous, which I probably didn't. But I mean, hey, compared to a lot of the people on the beach, I imagine I probably did. But she ended up. Anyway, I gave her a card. I'm not really sure why I did. I don't expect her to call me or have any connections of people that are going to want to hire me, but I don't know. It made me feel more legitimate, I guess. But so this guy that I called, he had apparently just had an encounter with her not long before. I don't know how I didn't hear my phone ring as I was driving into India, but he had kind of an encounter with her and kind of had the same impressions of her that I did, other than he had the means to buy her some dinner. And she had asked if he could use his phone to call me. I don't know what help she was expecting to get from me, but anyway, I missed that call. But him and I had a real interesting conversation about her, and then she was like, "Well, what brought you to Venice?" And so I'm telling about my whole Venice adventure, and I did, karaoke, and also like, about the karaoke thing, and then also about the electric scooter thing. And he proceeded to tell me about this project where he's taking a vintage gas scooter and wants to convert it into high performance electric. And that seemed really interesting. So anyway, we were on the phone for quite a while. So as frustrating as not finding, having to go find a place to incognito pee outside was, and as frustrating as waiting in line behind the woman with the dog that was taking a ridiculously long amount of time to pay for her stuff at the gas station, I'm sure the thing that really threw me off my time schedule coming home was the long conversation I had with that guy. And I don't know how long it was. I mean, I could look at my call log, not while I'm filming on my iPhone, no. But and for whatever reason, I was just sitting parked talking to him as opposed to getting back on the road. So that's on me. But yeah, it ended up being, and that isn't what took up most of my time. As kind of I figured I would be, I ended up being super tired at the wheel. I just came up my right, just couldn't keep driving safely, and I parked in a dark spot, near where a bunch of truckers were parked, by a truck stop, and I slept. I don't know how many hours I slept, but I slept pretty good for a while there. So. But I made it home safely, and now it's time to rock bullocks.